Our featured reader for tonight is Jim Spears. He is a recent graduate of Drew University's MFA program in poetry, whose work has appeared in several online and print publications, including the Louisiana volume of the Southern Poetry Anthology, the Medulla Review, and West Trade Review. The poems he will read tonight come from his manuscript he recently submitted to Pittsburgh University Press to compete for the Agnes Lynch Starlet? Not Starlet. She's not a starlet. Okay, good. The Agnes Lynch Starlet Poetry Prize. So please give a warm welcome to Jim Spears. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me? Ken, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you, Jim. Sir.
I'd like to start with a dream poem. I like dream poems because they're, you can come up with your own myths and worlds. You guys ready? All right, I'm nervous. This is my first reading. Okay. Grandeur. In a dream, grass the color of a lion's mane sways waist high, rises as though in praise, the way arms and hands caress heaven's cloudless veil overhead on Sundays. The sun's fringes are winking rays, undulating with the blades that breathe a hushed why in each breeze. Sugar-fine beaches hem those fields from south to north, where, between earth and sky, stone-sinewed heights jut. There, out of rock, foam waterfalls cascade, swelling a sea. The mountains' steel-gray faces fade into mists roiling around 7 cataracts, bashing down long after they've thrust waves away from jagged crags, southward along sand, and out as far east as eyesight settles, where the sea looks like it's got no edge, as if its water reversed course where earth curves, folding upward over granite peaks and nations of grass. So that's... For those of you who write poetry, if you run out of things to write about, just write about a dream. All right, well, I just moved to Mamu, and for a couple of years I drove to work at LSUE all the way from Lake Charles, and of course I had to get up extremely early, and as I'm walking through my house through the door, I frequently observed my wife and kids sleeping on the couch in the living room. Leaving home for work. I wake again before they do, slink from my bedroom through the kitchen, pause in the front room where they sleep on a fat couch. A muffled TV's light enlivens cornered shadows. My daughter's lips, pursed, puff successive breaths, and soft whoops waft between my son's teeth. I imagine my wife beside them, dreams. Her eyes drift beneath her eyelids. What dreams they must be. Pleasant visions of playing in the yard with our babies. An hour before dawn refines the starlit sky, I yearn to crawl in among them. Hey, Billy, can I get some water?
Yeah, it's at your feet. Maybe a little bit further.
Thanks. I sometimes get emotional when I read my own poems for some stupid reason. Please forgive me. Okay, well, I grew up in Arizona, so a lot of these, well, not a lot, a few of these poems,
They're not really memories, they're more like impressions of when I grew up. In a developing Arizona subdivision, sagebrush dabbles a playing field in summer, shading meek intermediaries of flight and earth. Desert doves, silted heads bob, beaks pecking sod where more houses like mine will soon sprout. Brown brick, pool out back, gray cinder block wall around. A storm foments, and spiced Palo Verde wood scents mingle with dank concrete and dirt. I am 16 and restive, bored and verved. I dash toward the field's other side where high school, vacant, is a sleeping monolith. I am nothing like a bird. My jaunt, wayward as a fragrant, blustering wind or the sage. You don't have to. You don't have to clap for all of them. Springtime stroll, Mesa, Arizona, 1992. Shadows cast by skyscrapers skew across a bus stop bystander as cars bustle over a wide avenue. 2 blocks down the acacia-lined sidewalk is a prim courtyard where lantanas, peonies, and snapdragons cluster at the feet of topiary Texas longhorns in all manner of poses. One grazes, another looks like it's about to charge around a 2-story bronze fountain of lusty atlas under a globe, geyser spurting, another 2 stories from its north pole, reflecting pool under the Titan, a cigarette butt bobs in its waves. This next poem is a poem in 4 parts, and it's a poem of regret. And, you know, you go through life, you accumulate regrets. A summer. 1. Phoenix streets were mirage oases. That June, the 8-year-old me on bike cruised neighborhood blocks past cloned squat houses. Cicadas whizzed to crescendo, then ebbed. A white yellow sun against solid blue baked soil so fast, sprinklers only muddied patches too petulant to sprout grass. 2. Mercedes bent over her knees, eyeing ants through a Cracker Jack magnifying glass in her front yard across the street from my house where I dismounted. Every school year morning, we rode the bus together, sat beside each other in class, sometimes played foursquare at recess, chatted as kids do, giggled. 3. She didn't see me. Maybe the heat bleached angels from my brain. It was okay to load my store-bought slingshot with a smooth stone I stole from Miss Burns' garden at her place. Fine to fix the sight of a little girl's body between my weapons posts. In time, paradoxically slow, yet measurable in quarter seconds, it would strike Mercedes' face. 4. She flailed backward, screamed. Blood overflowed mouth and chin until her mother rushed out, scooped her into their minivan, and sped off. In silence particular to every aftermath, I relived when I let go. A boulder's weight heaped inside my chest, burdening even now that I'm old. All right, now, you know, not every poem is supposed to have a message, right? But the message is pretty clear in here. Just, you know, treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody kindly, right? How many of you are familiar with John Lennon? Oh, good, good. All right, well, this is dedicated to John Lennon. It's called December 8, 1980. That's the year, the date he was murdered. December 8, 1980. My one-room Phoenix apartment is dark. It's 2 a.m., Monday. I wake under blankets. Pregnant raindrops pelt my only window. I imagine past sill into night in gutters along drenched concrete, deluge runoff gushes toward drains. 3 rats scamper to a hot water main where they'll dry in the basement of St. Luke's Asylum 2 blocks east. Nearby, streetlight haze is a lamp's starched A-frame dress. In New York City, a man clutches catcher in the rye while loading his revolver. Here, the lamppost teeters beside others like a line of sad sisters, eyes cast downward as if they're king. We're about to die. Nocturne. In the sparse kitchen, cabinets hewn from lumber strewn behind his trailer are screwed into particle board. They hinge barely, like the middle-aged buggy pusher of Walmart auspices, whose heft, after 2 shifts, burdens a shaky wooden chair from that made-in-China emporium where he works. Late night. He fetches his revolver from the sock drawer, aims, and fires, fires, fires. Wife, son, daughter suddenly pocked as they dreamt. Then back to the kitchen for a bologna sandwich. But there's no gun, and no wife or children in their bedrooms asleep. Even the cabinets are somewhat in limbo. That's sort of a dream poem. It's not a fantasy. Yeah. Do you guys know who Hector and Achilles are? Okay. Well, this is another take on the story. The longing of a soldier's soul. Achilles glimpsed Hector, a flash between blades slashing, bodies tumbling like hurricane thrash, timbers until steel blue above waned into orange gray and then starlight. Bloodied men, sweaty and gore spattered, still alive, slunk back to camps. Achilles, alone and bare-skinned in his tent, laid before a blaze, drank and faded into sleep. There, Hector and he locked eyes in the fray. As though no battle raged, the two flitted toward each other, let swords clang to earth unencumbered, where those legendary men entwined. The greatest fruits born of any tree in Asia Minor or vineyard of Greece. In dream, unfettered from Troy's skyscraping walls and feats constrained by others' terms, they capered cheek against cheek. I'll read 4 more. This next one is about my son. I used to take him to the park in Lake Charles as often as I could. And this is sort of an amalgamation of every time I took him. It's called The Encounter. A red-tailed hawk's gold feathers sprawled against dirt-patched grass below a pin oak at the park where I go to play with my boy. One wing bent unnaturally in places, and the other stuck up like its last indomitable act was to rise. Behind me, my son fumbled in toddler fat hands a red plastic bottle cap, as he often does with forbidden things. I turned away from the bird, having seen enough, and didn't catch my little one, who waddled past me faster than I could stoop to stop his advance. He scooped grime with both hands, squished until I shook his forearms hard enough. The corpse fell, and he wailed. Still, I couldn't help my delight. How innocently he made a fool of death. That poem is actually about beginner's luck, right? Have you ever played a game you've never played before against somebody who's played it a while and won, right? But then every game after that, the person trumps you, right? So,
What park was it?
in Lake Charles,
Yes.
University Park.
That's my park.
When coincidence begs to be called something else. There's a note on the photo's back, ink scrawl as yellow as the corners. Maurice, what a lovely spring picnic. XOXO, Janice, 2 May 1911. I found it in the attic of an abandoned house I'm restoring. The picture laid between joists on insulation. Today is May 2nd, 2011. Last year, Dad, 80, graced a bench overlooking a brook trickling through verdant seclusion. His wristwatch, boggled by the revolver's concussion, stopped at 10 a.m. Mother, canker-brained, died exactly at that time the previous morning. In the photograph, a dapper young man reclines on a blanket, head laid in a beauty's lap. Both beam into the lens. My cell phone blares. My wife. Baby, it's 10. Come home for breakfast. I, superstitious, take it that my parents are telling me they're all right. I heard somebody say, wow, that sounds depressing. Two more. Okay, this is sort of a, well, I don't know, I'll just read it. There's always something truthful in the air. A lily-petaled voice sings, not quite beside or an echo, but like I'm in the front row at an amphitheater where a boy lies on stage, cheek to floor, zigzagging a toy truck whose plastic wheels hum with each thrust near his nose. The song comes and goes, like that hum, or crickets thrumming after a night's rain. Sometimes it seems to say what we're worth, the sum of now times then divided by a breeze. Okay, this is the last one that I'll read tonight. This has everything to do with my son. Blackberries grow just around the fringes of my yard. I don't know why it grows just on the fringes, but it does. So he and I went out into the yard to pick these blackberries, and this is what it's about. April afternoon. Blackberries wildly jumble along the yard's fringes. My 3-year-old son follows me into a drain ditch between our grass and road, plucked as we plod through ankle-deep mud, past thistles whose cotton latches onto a breeze and soars. He shouts, "Daddy," when he spots black clusters beside ripening yellow and red ones. I often turn, not because he calls, but sunshine irradiates brown hair ringlets down his neck and cheeks. And whenever he shifts just right, his blue eyes scintillate. Our gallon bucket teeters, bounces near tipping against his thigh the whole time. We fill it a third full of berries. Thank you.
Took me forever to get up here. All right, once again, another round of applause for Jim Spears. Thank you very much, Jim. We're going to take a brief intermission. Please go ahead and order something. Get some coffee, get whatever they offer here. And when we come back, we'll... then are you done? Or oh, okay, we'll get back. We'll begin with the open mic. So, drink. That means that the first person up is it Sierra?
Yes, Parker.
Sierra Parker.
Okay. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of raised by poems, but this is a raised by poem. I was raised by a Hank Williams listening, black felt cowboy hat, don't set it on the brim wearing. Light me another cigarette, chain smoking, when I'm dead, bury me face down, so the world can kiss my ass and pour me another beer, party throwing kind of man. I was raised by a black and gold supporting, personalized jersey sporting, 20 years season ticket holding, alligator sausage eating, touchdown cheering, who dat chanting, second line dancing kind of man. I was raised by a tax book keeping, hundreds of clients' forms completing, e-filing, smiling, refund giving, everything in a pocket folder for saving, extra copy charge waiving kind of man. I was raised by an order giving, all A's demanding, nothing but the best, don't expect the world to pat you on the back proclaiming, never complimenting, nothing is ever good enough, self-esteem crushing kind of man. I was raised by a bear hug giving, tear drying, no more crying. What can I buy to make it better? Card swiping, credit limit reaching, life lesson teaching, I know you can do better preaching kind of man. I was raised by a surgery after surgery braving, never once complaining, deal with the devil making, 9 lives receiving, obstacle beating, real life miracle believing kind of man.
Thank you, Sierra. Next up we have Katie Abear. Sure. What are you going to ask for next?
Oh, that's it.
Get out your way.
What will I write about? I say as I stare into the blank screen on my computer, the blank page on my notebook, the plain white paper napkin that I've yet to jot my ideas down on, my blank brain as I've hit the wall of writer's block. What will I write about? I say, I'm tired of writing about heartbreak, of broken dreams, of torn emotions, of sadness, of darkness. I'm so sick of crying myself to sleep every night because you've left me alone yet again. Broken promises, yet again. You've let me down, yet again. You've left me high and dry, dry because my tears are all dried up. There aren't any left, they're dried up like the shriveled prunes on an old vine. I'm all cried out because you've done it. You've done it yet again. What will I write about, I say? No, I will no longer write of heartbreak, of broken dreams, of torn emotions, of pain and sorrow. Maybe it's time to change and leave it all behind. I've never been one to walk alone, always been scared to try. What will I write about, I say? I will write of happiness. Baby, when life gets you down, get right back up. Save the heartache for the ones who easily break. Be strong, face the world head on, look life in the eye and say, look, you can't push me around, you can't hurt me, because I control me. And baby, right now, you don't want to be hurt. So I'll let my hair down and shake it in the wind, because you can't hurt me anymore. That's a promise, and you're not a threat. Smile into the sun and embrace its eternal glow. Let it bounce off your cheeks and let your beauty radiate over the country, through the mountains and valleys and into the seas. And baby, baby, please, don't get me down again. And that is what I shall write about.
So, anyway, okay, well, here's the line poem. I'm going to read it as best I can. This is your poem, because I didn't add a line to it, so it's really your poem, and it's your fault, okay? So, it begins. Quoth the raven, nevermore, I spy a ginger. You know, the gingers, this is a motif of these line poems, I noticed that. Okay. Oh God, it has no soul. You just lost the game. Shamalama Lama, Teddy is the best XD. That's what it says, y'all. Happy birthday. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, little ball of fur. Bow chicka wow wow. That's a tired cat. I will steal all your souls. YOLO, that's my motto. Or is it Y-O-L-O?
It's YOLO.
Good, thank you. I appreciate that. I get thrown by these things. YOLO, that's my motto. Oh, Rose, thou art so sick. Somebody wrote that. And I have a feeling I know who it is. Definitely should have read those... Definitely should have read those World War I poems for today. That's an inside joke, y'all. Oh well, we reviewed anyway. I heard about that. And, oh good Lord. And now, visions of strife color every... No, impression... You can't read it the way I could read it. That's what you get. I thought we were talking about a raven. Oh no. The swing set's on fire. That shouldn't have an apostrophe. Oh, no, it should. Okay, never mind. Let's see. Oh, the swing set's on fire. What? Want, then run, go fetch the water bucket? Want thou run? Is it a Shakespearean line? Want thou run, go fetches the water bucket. Slowly you run like in a dream I can't escape. Flee the life map I was meant to take. That's what it says, two thes, that's right. Following the road that God's hands made. The path was chosen, for me was a wise one. Read it the way it's written. Go ahead, jump on the jolly bandwagon. Rustle all the jimmies. Ain't nothing finer than a pipeliner. How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll? Pop. Tootsie Pop, sorry. LSD says Mark Bennett. Gingers do have souls. Lies. That's it. Be proud of yourselves. Thank you for coming. We'll be back again in September. Y'all have a good summer.